Good morning. We are about to start the white coat ceremony for the class of 2023 in 2 minutes. Please silence your cell phones if you haven't already. Good morning. My name is Second Lieutenant Courtney Cowell, your Master of Ceremonies, and I welcome you today to our annual white coat ceremony. This ceremony has been an important part of USU culture for nearly 20 years. Though this is an honored tradition for our university, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that the virtual format in which we celebrate the occasion is unprecedented. We are here to welcome our newest colleagues into the medical profession in a time where we so obviously need their bright minds to tackle some of the most challenging problems. Thank you to the class of 2023 for your attendance. I also want to extend a warm welcome to the family members, friends, and mentors who are virtually showing support for our medical students and the university on this momentous day. I also want to extend a special welcome to Dr. Arthur Kellerman, Dean of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, Dr. Mike Arnold, faculty in the Department of Family Medicine and today's guest speaker, Dr. Courtney Judd, Gold Humanism Honor Society faculty, Dr. Catherine Kimball-Ayers, Commandant of F. Hebert School of Medicine, Dr. Pamela Williams, Associate Dean of Student Affairs. The Dermatomes USU Student Choir have recorded the national anthem for this ceremony. Please rise if you are able, and military members, please come to attention for the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars as fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. When the rockets break clear, rolls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The USU chaplain, Commander David Alexander, has recorded the opening prayer for the ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to pray with me. O God, who undergirds the best of our traditions and grants us strength to live up to our sacred vows. Here we gather with our military's newest generation of oath-bearing healers. We gather to bestow on them a coat of simple cut, of a single color, a coat which is not designed to be flashy and yet nevertheless stands out to the world as a beacon of hope in the most desperate of situations, a symbol of tireless service which will exhaust every good option, climb any mountain, as it were, forge any river in order to save or aid a life. Indeed, some of the men and women joining with us in this ceremony will, in a few short years, find themselves practicing medicine in deadly places. They will wear their white coats then only on the inside, as they mount armored vehicles and board planes, helicopters, and landing crafts, slip into parachute harnesses, cross gangways and brows, in order to stay close to the warriors whom they have sworn to serve. With this always in mind, here at USU, we ask your blessing on these simple garments. Let not one coat be offered or accepted today unless it carries your own grace. Let each coat transcend outward appearances to impact the inner life of a wearer who reflects every day upon its meaning. We ask these things for the class of 2023, but also for the good of our nation and its warriors and the world. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. As a representative of USU's Gold Humanism Honor Society, I would like to speak briefly about Dr. Arnold P. Gold. As a professor at Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons, Dr. Gold noted that the practice of having students take the Hippocratic Oath at the end of their medical training unfortunately occurred 4 years too late. And therefore, he established the first white coat ceremony at Columbia in 1993 to emphasize humanism in medicine at the start of medical education. Nearly every medical school in North America has subsequently adopted this practice. I would now like to introduce today's guest speaker, Dr. Mike Arnold. Commander Arnold serves at USU as the Multi-Systems Module Director, Director of the Family Medicine Resident Faculty Development Program, and is a member of the Institutional Review Board. Dr. Arnold is an Associate Professor of Family Medicine. He is a contributing editor to the American Family Physician Journal, Chair of the Navy Bureau of Medicine Female Forces Musculoskeletal Subcommunity, and a member of the Engagement Network of the American Board of Family Medicine. Dr. Arnold is a prior submarine line officer and undersea medical officer. He has deployed in both line and medical roles. Please welcome Dr. Arnold.
Greetings, class of 2023. Welcome to this wonderful ceremony where we refocus the purpose behind all your work last year. You have clawed your way through 5 of our 7 pre-clerkship modules, and here we recognize you as a colleague. This ceremony is to remind all of us that the knowledge we take so seriously is simply the means to an end. Here we remember that medicine is more than the concepts you've been working so hard to understand and retain. The foundation you are building now will enable you to evaluate and treat thousands of patients, including us, your faculty. That's why I'm joining you from a clinic room, a symbol of the environment and the intimacy of medical care. I was a pretty good submarine officer, where technical skill is mandatory, but personality more optional. I'm a more mediocre representative of the USU class of 2006, a dim light next to some of my classmates like Jennifer Chang and Leslie Voidy. Also, our curriculum was easier and more gradual. We had 2 years of preclinical learning and no patient interaction in the first year. Only at this point now did we start to begin patient interviewing and physical exam. I also think this is the right time to acknowledge that the 1920 Harvard's Dean speech is still true. He said, half of what we are teaching you is wrong. The problem is we don't know what half. While you are building the conceptual foundation for medical care you will provide for several decades, I want to let you know that we threw in a bunch of rotten timbers because we didn't know any better. It will be up to you to repeatedly inspect each and decide which to replace. An example for me was meconium, the first poop of babies. Parents may not know that meconium is dead cells from gut formation, but they know it is a black tarry mess. Transition to normal stool is great for new parents, at least until that smell hits. Babies can poop into their amniotic fluid, especially when stressed. Sometimes they breathe it in, and that poop blocks their bronchi. It can be horrible. So for years, we fought it. When that baby is born, pass it to the pediatrician and suck out the meconium. Do it quickly before she breathes all the way in. It was working great. We were training hard. USU actually set up a lab with anesthetized ferrets so we medical students could sharpen our skills prior to the first baby. You're not ready for a preterm baby, med student, but we'll give you one try with that term newborn and the tiny laryngoscope before we take it away. At least you've intubated a ferret. Then they studied the process, and it all went to heck. It appeared that the babies we didn't have a chance to intubate did about the same as the ones we did. Then trials showed similar outcomes. But we had a good thing going. If you've been doing something for decades, it's not easy to accept that it's been a waste of time. So the next neonatal resuscitation protocol said, there's no evidence to suggest harm with our time-tested practice of intubation and subglottic suction after delivery with meconium-stained amniotic fluid. It took more studies and 5 more years before the guidance said, don't do that. No ferret labs for your class. Sorry about that. You will see similar stories repeated over and over. So I want to apologize because you need to learn our medicine, which is fading by the year. I'm sure that over the last 12 months, studies have overturned several things we told you were facts. And this will be the same on the wards. Your residents and attendings can never be perfectly up to date, so we'll teach you old medicine. And with your updated learning and electronic mastery, I'm sure we may patiently teach you something you know has changed, but we don't. Let me know if you figure out how to resolve that issue. After we figured out that giving aspirin to patients with MI saves 1 in every 10 lives, it still took 10 more years until it was standard in emergency departments across the country. Please understand that you'll need to know what we believe, either because it's correct or because we need you to tactfully show us how it's wrong. So if this process of repetitive case-based learning with real people is flawed, what are you going to get from us? The answer is practice, role models, and examples of lifelong learning. You will be treating patients and you will be getting feedback. I probably don't need to tell you that not all of this feedback will be fair, balanced, and exactly what you need at this moment. Instead, we're counting on you to critically analyze our feedback, fish out the useful bits, and throw the rest back. Let's say an intern tells you that your notes, which is accurately the notes you wrote for his or her patients, that they're just too long and hard to read. Consider that maybe this intern has been pre-rounding since 0530 for the last 13 days. He or she is counting on you to see their fatigue and the concern that detailed teaching will take too much time. And just maybe he or she spent the last 13 days receiving plenty of their own note feedback that they struggled to explain. I don't have to ask you to think about never treating a medical student like that when you're the intern. I expect that'll come naturally. But I do ask you to consider that this intern promised themselves the exact same thing dozens of times, less than 2 years ago. This coat is a sign that you are one of us, that you are a colleague. You have so many ideas that will help patients, although our pride may make us hesitant to admit it. We do value you helping us round, writing the notes, making the decisions, going to radiology, prepping for the procedure. But we often fail to thank you for it. And even worse, to recognize what you can do. I'm sure you will spend time wishing we were more open to using your skills. Be patient with us. In our eyes, you may appear too young, too confident, too much of a threat, or trying too hard to impress. Remember that these reactions likely have nothing to do with you. If you're disheartened, please try to empathize and carry on. Over time, we will see the real you. You will learn so much from great attendings, residents, and nurses you work with. But you can only take so much and make it your own. I want the patient observation skills of Eric Meyer, but I fall short. I yearn for Frankie Cimino's banter with patients and colleagues. After 14 years of imitating her, I'm not there. I don't have Leslie Voity's poise. I don't have Courtney Judd's positivity, Sebastian Laura's ease, Jennifer Chang's caring, Dana Nguyen's motivation, Pat Monahan's patient, or Matt Hawks' logic. All I can pull off is a decent Mark Arnold. I want to suggest to you that what Tolstoy said about families may carry over to role models too. Happy or great role models are mostly the same, but every unhappy role model makes their colleagues unhappy in their own unique way. To learn from bad leaders, we must recognize how they fail and what they do well. Well, she's horrible to residents, but her patients love her. He is disorganized and always behind, but amazing at diagnosis. She's so combative with nurses, but she handles deliveries better than anyone I've seen. And now that you have this coat, can I share the secret that we're all flawed, easily confused, and forgetful? We all make errors, and you will too. I worry that you also will feel ashamed that we all know. It starts with the horror of realization as that fog of confusion lifts to show us what just happened. Then a bilious shame washes over, convincing us that this act shows we were never good enough, never smart enough, we're unworthy of this calling. At this very moment, we most clearly recognize the honor and responsibility for caring for patients, just as we judge ourselves completely unworthy. This is a lie that we all tell ourselves, and you must recognize it even while that bile is coursing. You won't want anyone to know, but you must tell someone. Find someone you trust, tell it all, and ask them to show you the lie, that lack of intent that belies the crime we just found ourselves guilty of. Mistakes are not signs of stupidity, malice, or uncaring. They're signs of fatigue, rush, overtasking, communication lapses, and lack of backup. To prevent recurrence, we need to search out those enemies. Shame may also try to make you hide embarrassing oversights, but don't let it. This is where we simply must wear the integrity of the branches we serve. Imagine you are rounding, and the attending asks you about the wound dressing on that patient. Oh, it was so early. Did I even look? Please just admit that you didn't. Instead, my advisee said, "It's clean, dry, and intact, sir," while mentally committing to check after rounds. But this was a trick question. This obstetrician never bandaged his C-section patients. My advisee's white lie nearly cost him his internship. We are amazed how resilient you have been over the past year. These aren't exactly the modules we promised you or the learning environment that you expected, but you have adapted better than we dared to hope. We are confident that the success will continue, that you will overcome all challenges and become the amazing physicians we glimpsed when you first applied. But can you do just a bit more? Can you maintain your optimism, intentionally gripping it so tightly that nothing can jar it loose? Can you retain your gratitude for this path that you're on? Can you start having that positive impact on military medicine right away? Hold on to this white coat, this symbol of trust, service, and patient advocacy, and make it your own. You will soon enter the best part of the highest calling known to mankind. Patients will let you into their lives and trust you with more than you ever considered. You will work for and with the best people you've known. You will be a part of miraculous cures, heroic attempts, and tragic events. You will see unbelievable courage. From these observations, you will start to categorize the ways to a fulfilling life and to define a good death. Over the next 3 years with USU, you will experience so many diverse events of being a physician that you will carry long after you choose your preferred specialty path. Class of 2023, we are honored to call you our colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arnold. Dr. Arthur Kellerman, Dean of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, will now lead the class of 2023 in the donning of their white coats. This will be followed by a slideshow presentation of the class of 2023, after which the Dean will administer the Oath of Hippocrates. Following the oath, the dean will provide a few remarks to the class.
Class of 2023, before coming to America's Medical School, you represented a wide range of backgrounds. Gunner's mate, Air Force PJ, lab tech, Army Ranger, Navy search and rescue pilot, elementary school teacher, graphic designer, linguist, college athlete, medic, hospital corpsman, Peace Corps volunteer. But today, with the donning of a white coat, you're symbolically entering a shared profession, an ancient and honorable profession, medicine. And you are becoming a healer, a carer, someone who will always be there for their patients. So at this time, I'll call on all members of the class of 2023 to don your white coat.
Alexis Albright. Lainey Alamon. Kevin Anderson. Mariah Harvey. Kevin Babcock. Jessica Baylor. Grace Baisden. Natalia Arzande. Luke Beckler. Catherine Beck. Ryan Bernal. Robert Besh. Kristen Bishop. Margaret Black. Ronald Lazzini. Michael Bolton. Eliza Brady. Anna Bridges. Zachariah Brooke. Janet Brown. Matthew Brown. Kristen Burnham. David Carmack. Adam Shamas. Brianna Chen. Kieran Chung. Reagan Chun. John Clark. Catherine Clark. Luis Contreras Zarat. Grace Cavelli. Daniel Cox. Jake Presta. Alexandra Crossway. Lisa Cruz. Brianna Daly. Chase Donnell. Raul Davalos. Brian Davis. Sebastian De La Torre. Conrad Deere. Christina Dinocentis. Andrew Dill. Ryan Denon, Joseph Denoto, Trad Dobbins, Elizabeth Dunn, Sean Egan, Andrew Evans, Carly Finch, Victor Fox, Jacob Fryer, Megan Gagnon, Galen Gist, Michael Goldstein, Carrie Gagne, Kaylee Bray, Amanda Hall, Lindsay Hannah, Harvey Harper, Rachel Harris, John Hapkus, Bryson Hewins, Theodore O, Ryan Wong, Emily Hoffman, Kelly Holovac, Neil Upstep, Kayla Hudson, Christopher Jane, Sean Jin, Monique Johnson, Karina Hoffman, Christopher Kerr, Sharon Kim, Lindsay Kingston, Eugenie Koshkroff, Savannah Canellis William, Kathleen Kribda, Julia Crum, Aaron Isuda, Christine Kwok, Julia Larson, Andy Lee, Ian Lee, Katie Lee, Kenny Lee, Karen Lee, Jasmine Leewon, Matthew Leon, Jessica Lewis, Hannah Lindsay, Jessica Lindsay, Samantha Lonergan, Brian Lopez, Caitlin Buckcock, Dana Luker, Richard Luna, Emily Lyon, Clarence May, Jonathan Malmrose, Ashna Manhas, Elizabeth Marson, Rebecca Martin, Zachary Matthews, Teresa McAllister, Savannah McCaskill, Megan McGovern, Logan McMillan, Ryan McNutt, Rebecca Miles, Matthew Miller, Emily Montgomery, Patty Matoney, Brandon Neal, Austin Nelson, Natalie Nipa, Ophir Nevo, Lauren Newsom, Anna Nickel, Colby Norris, Evans Okonkwo, Rachel Parker, Melissa Postal, Chewin Proch, Yai Fuente Menes, Austin Rasmussen, Anna Roa, Daniel Rockford, Brandon Rosansky, Gregory Rummel, Samantha Swikart, Trevor Scott, Kyle Sexton, Eric Shy, Georgia Sims, Prabnav Singh, Sierra Smith, Laurel Sack, Simon Stokes, Shiwei Sun, Benjamin Swanson, Kent Swatz, Branson Bahari, Betsy Tang, Donnell Thomas, Thomas Tippett, Sierra Colbert, Danielle Puma, Evan Tweed, Matthew Von Schuckman, Amberly Vaughn, McKenna Wade, Rory Wagner, Brandon Waldron, Margaret Walker, Skylar Walker, Rachel Watkins, Allison Watkins, Thomas Weiss, Catherine Williams, Melina Williman, Ethan Walk, Isak Wandlosen, Anna Wooten, Monica York, Matthew Yasua, Joshua Zamaripa, Sarah Zimmer.
Class of 2023, the Oath of Hippocrates is over 2,000 years old. It embodies the ideals, the values, and the commitment that represent the profession of medicine. I invite all members of the class and all physicians either participating or watching their ceremony online, wherever you are in the country, wherever you are in the world, to join, raise your right hands, and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever home I shall enter, it shall be good for the good of the sick and the well, to the utmost of my power, and that I will hold myself aloof from wrong and from corruption and from the tempting of others to vice. That I will exercise my art solely for the cure of patients and the prevention of disease, and will give no drugs and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such a thing. That whatsoever I shall see or hear in the lives of people which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep secret. These I do promise. And in proportion as I am faithful to this oath, May happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite, if I shall be forsworn. Congratulations, class of 2023. You may lower your hands. Before I hand off the rest of this event, I just want to say this may be the last official act I make as Dean of America's Medical School. I cannot think of a more fitting one than to recite this oath with you. Keep it with you. Remember always that you have chosen a special path, a military physician. You are better than most. Much will be expected of you. You'll expect much of yourselves. It has been a great honor to be your dean, to be a part of this place. I will never forget you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Second Lieutenant Chase Donnell, and as the class president for class 2023, I would like to take this time to thank the dean and faculty for their participation in today's ceremony. In particular, I would like to thank Dr. Arnold for his excellent remarks as our guest speaker. And sir, we did get you a plaque as a thank you, and under normal circumstances, we would be presenting it to you at this time. Unfortunately, because that's not possible today, I hope our virtual gratitude over Zoom will suffice until we can get that plaque in your hands physically. Thanks again, sir. And I would also like to express our sincere gratitude to you, Dean Kellerman, both for your remarks today as you celebrate this milestone with us and for everything you've done during your time at USU. It's not lost on us that this ceremony will likely be the last thing you do in your capacity as Dean for the School of Medicine. And for that, we feel incredibly honored to have you here with us today. Our class has only had the privilege of working with you for about a year, but it was definitely long enough for us to realize how lucky we were to have you in our corner as an advocate and as an educator. So on behalf of all the students you've had an impact on, both past and present, thank you so much for your service to us, the USU community, and military medicine. Good luck on all your future endeavors, and hopefully our paths cross again down the road. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Second Lieutenant Donnell and Dr. Kellerman. It is my pleasure to introduce a message from Vice Admiral Jerome Adams, the 20th Surgeon General of the United States. Vice Admiral Adams received bachelor's degrees in both biochemistry and psychology from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, a Master of Public Health degree from the University of California at Berkeley, and a medical degree from Indiana University School of Medicine. He has been a leader in numerous professional organizations, including the American Medical Association, the American Society of Anesthesiologists, the Indiana State Medical Association, and the Indiana Society of Anesthesiologists. Dr. Adams is also the former Health Commissioner of Indiana, where he led the state's responses to Ebola, Zika, and to the largest HIV outbreak in the United States related to injection drug use. During his tenure, Dr. Adams has created several initiatives to tackle our nation's most pressing health issues, including the opioid epidemic, oral health, and the links between community health and both economic prosperity and national security. He is also a member of the President's Coronavirus Task Force. Please welcome the Surgeon General of the United States, Vice Admiral Jerome Adams, who has sent the following remarks to the class of 2023.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you as part of today's white coat ceremony. As the nation's doctor, it's an honor to be among the first to congratulate you for reaching this important milestone in your career. Today represents an important step forward towards becoming a physician, an advocate, and a healer. Your service to reduce suffering, restore and improve health, and prevent harm begins today. I'm confident that each of you will use the training and lessons ahead to grow into compassionate, respectful, and highly skilled professionals with both clinical and cultural competence. I can't overstate the importance of being a humanistic physician, one who seeks to listen to and understand their patients, as well as their values, preferences, and goals. Of course, I can't speak to you today without acknowledging that your path in medicine will be different from anyone who has ever embarked upon this journey in the past. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected every aspect of our lives. It has changed the nature of our healthcare system and the roles that many of us play now, as well as in the future. As future leaders in military healthcare and public health, I encourage you to cultivate resilience during this time, in yourselves and in those whom you serve. Helping preserve and protect both mental and physical health has been a lifelong mission of mine. Just as a car can't go very far or fast with a flat tire, it's important that each of you make a point to take care of your own well-being. A reservoir of resilience will serve you well in the years ahead, both personally and professionally. As you don your white coats today, I want to put you right to work on two priorities of my office that are also priorities for the nation: maternal health and hypertension control. In the coming weeks, I'll release calls to action on each of these topics. As you know, more than 700 women die in childbirth each year, over 60% of these deaths being preventable. Women of color suffer more complications and a much higher risk of dying. The health of our nation, quite simply, rests upon the health of our mothers and mothers-to-be. That's why I need you to help make a healthy future the reality for all of America. My second call to action is on hypertension control. Hypertension is common, costly, but it's treatable, and yet control rates are low and stalled, especially for people of color. Preventable events continue to claim lives and harm far too many. Please read my call to action when it's released and commit to one or more of its actions to bring our nation's blood pressure under control. As I wrap up, I want to leave you with just a few challenges. First, be innovators and disruptors. It is with deliberate disruption and novel ideas that we will overcome the unique challenges and obstacles we all face today. Second, advocate for your patients and your profession. Speak up within your hospital, your community, and wherever you find yourself. You'll discover that you can save as many lives with your voice as you can with your stethoscope or your scalpel. Third, practice good self-care, because physician burnout is very real. To best take care of others, it is imperative that you make time to take care of yourself. And last, but certainly not least, strive to be a good person as well as a good doctor. One of my favorite sayings is that people need to know you care before they care what you know. Today is an exciting occasion, and one that you and your loved ones will remember for years to come. Although we are not celebrating this milestone in person, please know I've never been so proud to be your Surgeon General. It is all of you who remind me why I chose this profession and why I will always strive to keep you and our nation safe, healthy, and productive. So from the nation's doctor to the nation's newest medical professionals, congratulations on achieving this milestone. I look forward to hearing of your great work.
Now we will hear the closing benediction from the USU chaplain, Commander David Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's customary in the armed forces, anytime we're honored for reaching a milestone, that we also pause to remember those whose love and friendship helped us along the way, and especially those whom we've lost. I have in mind today West Point Cadet Peter Zhu, who was a friend to many of our School of Medicine students who are West Point alumni, and if not for his untimely death, would have been putting on his own white coat today. Let's take a moment of silence to remember Peter and all whom we have loved and lost in the process of reaching this day. And I invite you to pray with me once again. O God, whose love cannot be measured, as we grieve those we have lost, remind us all of the shortness and uncertainty of human life. Guide us to live wisely in the time that we have, applying ourselves to the work you've given each of us to do in our time. And then when we will have served you in our generation, we ask that you gather us to the company of the faithful ones who have served in times and ages past, having the testimony of a good conscience and a race well run, and an unbroken faith until the end. Not sorrowing as those without hope, we cast our cares on you, so that we may know the consolation of unfailing love. Amen.
This concludes the white coat ceremony for the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, class of 2023. On behalf of all the faculty, staff, and students, thank you so much for your attendance.